Well, in many respects. I mean, technologies are already changing education system. Computers, and we're talking about computer-based technologies, right? Computers can do several things, several good things that, well, can help people in the educational system. So let's say computers can implement some routine tasks, right, that people can be excluded from. So learning management systems probably is the most successful use of technologies at the moment in the educational system. And what they did, basically, they allowed teachers to, easily communicate with people, with students, right, to take care of some, testing, document processing, all these things. Computers can help to develop new kinds of educational material, more interactive, more instructionally capable, more visual, so that students can get better learning effect. So what computers can do, what computer-based technologies can do, communication technologies can do, they make education more accessible for students everywhere, anytime. And what this brings, actually, what this brought already, is all these open universities that are exist in several European countries already. Right. So let's take the Open University in Spain. I'm not sure what's the name of the university, but I know that they have thousands, hundreds of thousands of students in Latin America. So how would these students be able to get this education from Spanish educational system without internet, without communication technologies? And I mean, it's everywhere. So these transformative changes that technologies can bring to the educational system, they already happen, and they will be, I think, only increasing over time, because we see more and more new stuff coming up every day. So computer-based technologies and people who develop them, they have to take into account, of course, that they live in the ecosystem of current educational system, right? So some regulatory requirements, they have to be followed. Ethical issues, things like certificates, all these kind of things. And people who actually want to monetize the technologies for education, who want to actually go to the market, right? They have to follow the requirements, and they have to build the technology so that they could be inserted into this, system of qualification, grades, certificates, and all these things. So, for example, the Carnegie Learning Company, right? So, in Pittsburgh, so they sell quite an amount of these cognitive tutors, but they sell it together with books. They build the courses which follow the school curricula, all these kind of things. So of course we have to, when we develop these technologies, and especially if you want to go to the market, we have to make sure that we do not invent something totally crazy. But I think the system will, I think currently the technologies, they are trying to lead. And the system, it is changing, and it will be changing according to technologies much more than technologies will be following what the system is trying to regulate and trying to kind of, put them into this box. So I think that the box will be open at some point. The most important condition, right, I think, is the openness of people to technologies. So the users. Users have to be aware. They have to have some basic level of literacy for these technologies, and they have to be willing to use them. And not only students, but students, they usually like, everything new, flashy, all these kind of things. Teachers have to trust these technologies. They have to understand that technologies are not there to replace them, but to help them. Parents should trust these technologies, and they maybe have to push a little bit teachers and the schools and universities towards using these technologies more. So I think this is the most important thing. And of course, I mean, so some infrastructure things. I mean, so we need computers, we need internet, we need all this kind of stuff. So these new devices that appear, they bring also some exciting opportunities, like iPads, right? Things like that. So if we can get more of those, that would be also nice. So basically, accessibility of the technical infrastructure and willingness of users to use the technologies, to employ them, to embrace them. Well, I would say two important trends are going on. So one trend is the connectivity, of people, devices, everything, right? So internet, of course, it brought, huge change, huge difference. And the way internet develops, for example, the way we have right now this Web 2.0 revolution going on for the last, let's say, 5 years. This will, at some point, change, and it is already changing, the way students look for information online, the way they exchange information, and it also is bringing new ways of how people can learn and how people can teach, right? So basically, whatever happens on the internet, this certainly will have influence on how computer-based educational technologies will be implemented. Another trend of development is these new devices, these new exciting devices. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of Mac devices myself, but basically this company was really leading in the last 5 years. So the iPad and devices like it, mobile phones, smartphones, right? What they allow you to have some really cool interactive application right in front of you, any moment of time, anywhere. So let's take, for example, these new textbooks that Apple just introduced a couple of months ago. This is really cool. Not that they really did something revolutionary there. I mean, so these kind of applications existed before, but the mere amount of users for whom they can open this technology now, it's exciting. And they did actually even some pedagogical experiments, and they show that really they improve the the knowledge gain, speed of learning, all these kind of things. Well, myself, of course, I am coming from the research on personalization. So I think this is a very important trend for educational technologies in general, right? The ability for a system to substitute a teacher to some extent. This is very important, not only because it is nice for a student, it is very nice for a teacher also. So current educational system, it faces lots of problems. We're not living in industrial society anymore. We live in information society, where information grows very fast, where totally new kind of sets of skills are necessary, and it's very hard for the old-time teacher, to keep up with all these requirements that the classrooms of today and tomorrow require. That's why I think personalization, when you can somehow at some point substitute the teacher, would be very nice. Another thing, of course, I'm sure that the mobility, the accessibility of educational content and learners on the other end, it will also grow, and it will also become a very important factor in development of these technologies. Well, of course, I mean, the power of computers will grow, all these kind of things, and this will bring kind of new ways, more interactive, more visual, more graphical content to the students. maybe the ultimate vision for the, the killer technology of killer educational technologies of tomorrow will be some kind of, program application device that is everywhere with the student, that can deliver personalized learning material to him at every moment of time, that keeps track of all that he is doing, can understand what he is doing, and can provide the best support at all the moments of time. And meanwhile, it's integrated with, with the these formal regulations of the system, so that you can basically not only learn, but you also can pass exams, you can qualify, and all these things. And it's all flexible enough so that you don't have to be a student of physical department or student of mathematical department. Instead, you are growing and kind of choosing what you're learning constantly, and then becomes a better person, a better specialist. And it happens lifelong. So this kind of personal learning assistant that is always with you, that always helps you to learn, and right, this kind of stuff. I think this would be the ultimate goal of, I don't know, people who develop these kind of technologies.